Alright, guys, civil society organizations across the southeast region of Nigeria have accused Nigerian security agencies of operating with bias, alleging that while indigenous people of Biafra IPOB activities are routinely targeted with swift and forceful action, armed herdsmen responsible for violent attacks on communities are ignored. In a joint statement, the CSOs expressed deep concern over what they described as selective law enforcement that undermines justice, fuels insecurity, and leaves victims of herdsmen violence without protection of recourse. The organizations, including RULLCA, SWAG Initiative, and the Nkwa Ndo Foundation, documented a disturbing pattern of attacks across the five southeast states, with incidents ranging from killings and kidnappings to widespread disruption of farmland. They criticized both state and federal authorities for their failure to uphold constitutional obligations, demanding immediate action to investigate, arrest, and prosecute perpetrators of herdsmen related violence while ensuring fair and equal application of the law to all groups. The statement read, "We, the undersigned CSOs in the Southeast, express profound concern over the continued and escalating attacks by armed bandits herdsmen on our communities across the five southeastern states of Nigeria. These attacks are not isolated incidents, but part of a broader pattern of violence and impunity that has gone largely underaddressed by the Nigerian state and its security apparatus. While law enforcement agencies routinely undertake swift and heavily armed operations against armed IPOB/ESN camps, we observe with alarm the contrasting interior with which they respond or fail to respond to the persistent and violent incursions by armed herdsmen. Communities suffer losses of lives, destruction of farmland, and displacement with little or no meaningful state intervention. Recent attacks paint a disturbing picture of escalating violence in Abia State communities, in Isiakuto, Umunachi local governments. They have repeatedly decried attacks, kidnappings, and farm disruption by suspected herdsmen with little or no response from law enforcement. In Anambra State, part of Olumba North local government continues to face herdsmen-related violence, forcing farmers to abandon their lands. In Ebonyi State, the Amagu village, Ngankala community in Isialu local government has witnessed killings and deadly attacks by suspected Fulani herders. In Enugu State, recent invasion in Iyamafo and Uzo Nwanne have left scores dead and displaced, with survivors alleging complete abandonment by security force. In Imo State, several incidents of farmland disruption and attacks by suspected herders had been reported in Okigwe zone, yet no significant arrests or prosecutions have been made. Also, for the second time within a month, suspected Fulani herdsmen have laid siege in Owerri, Ngo and Abarud, killed people and kidnapped passengers in public commercial vehicles. These attacks persist in a climate of apparent selective enforcement of the law. Communities who attempt to defend themselves from disruptions and violence have faced retaliatory state actions, including arrests and forced financial compensations to herders. In some cases, these punitive actions are executed at the behest of state government officials seeking to appease vested interests rather than uphold justice. This pattern raises legal and constitutional concerns. Section 14, 2B in brackets of the 1999 Constitution as amended, provides that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of the government. Furthermore, Section 42 prohibits discrimination on any bias, including selective application of justice. The seeming reluctances of law enforcement to prosecute armed herdsmen with their destructive and un, uh, unrestrained operations in the Southeast suggests a breach of the principle of equal protection under the law. It also raises questions about the neutrality of the federal law enforcement agencies and the militarization of the Southeast, which now hosts an excessive number of security checkpoints, particularly in civilian areas, and acts inconsistent with the principles of federalism and civil liberties. Indices of extortion, brutality, and harassment at these checkpoints remain largely uninvestigated, even when widely reported in mainstream and social media. The federal government continues silent on the concerns, including its failures to proscribe or designate armed herdsmen as terrorists under the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022, despite their widely documented act of terror, further undermines public confidence in state institutions. So we demand the following urgent actions: that the state governors and the federal security agencies ensure the equitable enforcement of all extant criminal laws against any individual or group, regardless of ethnicity or affiliation, found capable of violence, disruptions, or displacement. That the Nigerian police force and other law enforcement agencies immediately prioritize the investigation, arrest, and prosecute of perpetrators of herdsmen-related violence in the Southeast. That the federal government demilitarizes civilian space in the Southeast and addresses credible allegations of misconduct by state agents, including extortion and abuse of human rights at checkpoints. The Southeast governors immediately convene regional security summits with affected communities, traditional rulers, civil society, and other relevant stakeholders to develop actionable community-based strategies to protect lives and property. That the National Human Rights Commission, Legal Aid Council, and Nigerian Bar Association intensify oversight and legal support for victims of herdsmen attacks and unlawful detentions linked to retaliatory community actions. Our people deserve the protection of the law and the fairness of its application. The continued failure of states and federal institutions to confront these threats undermines the integrity of our democracy and the rule of law. So guys, you've all heard it. Now, what's your take on this? Please, let's hear from you. Kindly drop your comment below the comment section. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, share this video, let it go viral. Let Nigerians understand what is happening today. Thank you. Bye for now.